Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking on Maria's Intersecting Wills Shinryu fight, and we are bringing in the team comp. So this is the insane comp I've been talking about. I showed it off a little bit in Maria's character guide, but we're going to kind of take it to the max here. So we've got Maria, Minwoo, and Celis here. So the reason why this team is so good as a setup for Maria's FR is that it all has a ton of off-turn healing, which is really what she wants, right? And with all of the off-turn healing being trap-based, that also works really well because it's always going to shave their Brave down to 0, which is going to trigger the other part of her force, right? And so I am commentating over a pre-recording here, but what's awesome about this video is we actually take the gauge to basically cap. We get it to 999, and actually have a few turns where it just like doesn't do anything because we're already at cap. So this very easily got us to cap, which I think we were seeing that when I did the character guide, because the character guide, the bosses just died way too fast, but we were on pace for like 1300% or something like that. So the nice thing here is that when you're doing Maria's FR, you know, obviously on your on turns, you get more percent if you do on turn healing. But because if you're doing a really aggressive fight like this one, you can actually just do other attacks and don't have to worry about on turn healing because you're going to get enough with this team comp, right? So it's pretty crazy how awesome this team works, and I actually think this fight in particular is a pretty fun one. So I might do like some other defense comps on this same fight just because it's a very fun aggressive one. The one thing that this fight does do to throw you off though is they inflict Confuse, and Confuse is really bad on a normal defense team comp, so like Gladio, you know, Oron, stuff like that, right? The counter characters, because they cannot counter if they're confused, so you can really get burned on that. The reason why this team comp works so well, in the way they're kind of selling Maria here especially, is that if your character is confused, trap-based off-turn damage will still work, because it's based off of a debuff the enemy has, not something you're actively doing as the player. So, what you're going to notice in this video is I have times where characters are confused, but it doesn't impact any of my traps. All my traps are going to go off just fine. The other thing this really showcases well with Maria is this fight is a pretty stingy elemental lockout. They want only wind or holy here, right? So I am basically doing this whole fight locked out because Maria even gets locked out because Celis is an ice enchanter, right? So we're putting ice on everybody, so we're getting stuff that is not wind and holy. And then Minwoo is also putting holy down, but we're getting ice with it. So if you carry one element that's incorrect, you'll lose basically what you need, right? They're very specific about that. But even with Maria, Maria doesn't actually even enchant for wind, and Maria just has one attack that's wind. So even like a base Maria would still get locked out here. But I think what they want to show you with Maria and characters like this is that even if you don't do brave damage, you're fine, because Maria's trap shaves them down to 0. Like, Maria has a lot of gravity shaving, right? So I think they really wanted to show that here. And then what they're kind of saying, like, alright, if you don't want to get locked out, they want you to bring, like, Ceodor for that holy enchant, right? And then Ceodor would be enchanting Maria, and then sure, you're doing full damage, but I want to run the team comp I want to run, so you can see we're locked out pretty much the whole time. There are a few hits we do, like Maria's actual, like, proper shot will do good damage, but you see here, her 35, we're doing 1s, right? So, and it doesn't matter, because her traps are so good, and no matter what the enemy's brave is, they just get shaved down, and then it's just very easy trap breaks, right? So this is what I was talking about with Maria, where when you're thinking about like what kind of spheres to give her, like break spheres are actually pretty good on Maria, because she's going to be breaking a lot, because her traps, once again, they combo with that gravity and then follow up with that attack, and that's all you really need, right? So this fight gets pretty straightforward, and this is a one-hitter quitter FR, like no problem. These defense comps are crazy when you're doing aggressive fights. Now, don't look at this team and be like, oh my god, it's going to break the entire game, because if the fights aren't that aggressive, especially if they're single target, like, they typically don't attack enough to, like, warrant using a defense comp like this. So typically you want to use something more offensive if the enemies aren't aggressive enough, but you can still use this in a non-aggressive fight. You might just need multiple FRs, right? For someone that's trying to be a little bit more optimal like me, I like to try to get them done within 1 to 2 force times if I can. That's kind of optimal. Now, we do get into kind of like a weird spot later on where, like, I believe Minwoo gets confused. One of the characters, like, for the most part, Celis is the one that's confused. Celis gets confused for, like, probably half of this fight. Because, one, she's really slow, and two, she's got lock-on, so she's just constantly getting targeted. But what happens is, it takes her so long to get unconfused, because Celis getting 2 turns in a team comp like this, in a fight like this, takes, like, an eternity. Which is a good thing for, like, your burst effects lasting a long time and things like that, right? But for getting that confused off, it's like, so I probably should have brought, like, like a Theodore call, or, like, some type of dispel call, to, like, get those debuffs off, right? Or not a dispel, but, like, a cleanse call, right? Something to cleanse those off, but it was fine, because this team, once again, even if the whole party got confused, all that would happen is that our traps would operate and keep us healed and still break the enemies, and eventually that would run off. The part that would get bad, where it does get dicey at one point, actually I think it's Celis's. Celis gets confused for so long that her trap actually falls off, and I have to, like, reset it, and I barely get it reset in time, because she is just getting constantly confused. And once again, 2 turns is just like an eternity in a fight like this. But I really like this team. This was so fun. And these are, those of you who have watched my channel know that I really like these defense comps. So I've done, like, Core Gal Gladio. That's one of my favorite team comps. I've done some with Ferris. So, like, when you're doing, like, Ferris, Minwoo, or Celis, you might want to have, like, non-elemental party members to make sure that you can enchant. But here's Celis. Celis is just seeing stars for a while here, but we did just enter burst time, our force time. So what you're going to see, look at this. We're on turn 9, and we're already up to 275. So I guess I should actually, I'm kind of just talking in general, but I should talk more about the fight here as I'm commentating, right? So basically all the fight was up to this point was kind of just setting up our buffs and debuffs, and the big thing was getting Minwoo and Celis to get their burst effects up. Minwoo's burst effect is very important because it allows him to do double traps, and Celis's burst effect is very important because it's going to make any physical attacks coming at her magic attacks, therefore she will absorb everything with her runic. So that's basically the setup, and we did bring in a selfie and we did some wall charging. So that's pretty much how we got to where we're at. And look at this. We're on turn 9. Turn 9 of force time. We've only taken 1 turn and we're already surpassing, like, approaching 350%. Just an absurd amount of percentage. So if you want to very easily exceed all 9s, this is the type of team comp that can do it. In a fight like this, right? Once again, this fight makes the defense comps look better. This is kind of like the Ultimisia fight. Very, very, very aggressive. And I did showcase this team comp in the Ultimisia fight. And in that Ultimisia fight, I do think we would have gotten over cap, but the enemies died too quick. So that was the issue there. But hey, we'll take a little bit of launch damage, sure. And notice in this team, I didn't even set up. I didn't even set up selfie launching, which would have enabled us to do more damage, but that's not as important on this, because this is a more passive. Hey, we actually get the explosive bow. The explosive bow we actually didn't get to see in the showcase. Like, we got to see the attack, but let's actually see what explosive blow does here. It does basically a gravity, right? So, yeah, there it is. There's that explode brave damage. So it doesn't do any HP damage, but it just does some more gravity and brave gain. So it's just a nice little touch added on to the end. So now they're exploding. They're double trapping from Maria. They're double trapping from our boy Minwoo. Celis has the ice blocks going. And here's the thing. This is the other thing that's awesome about Celis' tanking, is it still works when she's confused, right? She's just passively, she's still absorbing. She's not a counter character, so she doesn't need to respond. So this fight really, like, showcases this particular team so well. Because like I said, even when we're confused, it doesn't matter. Look at that. Turn 7, 517%. Like, Hope can't even ramp up that quick, and we're doing damage the whole time we're doing this, right? Like, this is crazy. Something you could do that's kind of nasty with this team, actually, is if you ran this, team, set up your force time, right? And then, I don't know, let this thing get up to 800-900%, bring in a friend and a crow, and pop a couple of LBs and see what happens. You totally could do that. I actually had my Anna Crow set for a while, but I think I switched it back to selfie. But maybe I might put Anna Crow back up in case any of you all wanna try that. Basically, Anna Crow, you won't do like 60 mil because there's a little bit more setup to do that, but she'll blow off some big damage. So if you want to pop off, like, I don't know, a 30 mil shot or something with Anna Crow, basically any team where you can get the gauge up, just bring her in as a friend and throw down some damage. You definitely could do that, right? Let me know in the comments. Do you want my friend to be Enacro or Selfie? Maybe whoever gets the most votes, that's what I'll put up. But Selfie's obviously a pretty popular one and easy to find. Enacros aren't very popular, so I'm kind of leaning, maybe I'll go back to Enacro. Or I could put Maria up if y'all want to try out my Maria. I don't know. You guys tell me who you want my friend unit to be, for those of you on my friends list. And hey, if you want to be on my friends list, I've said this before in other videos, but like, DFFOO's pretty generous, giving you like 300 friend slots. So I'm willing to make room for people, because I would rather like have people that watch my channel that like I know are interested in my stuff as my friends than like some randos, right? And I still have some randos on my friends list. I have filled up with a lot more like people I know from the community, but I would like my full 300 friends list to be people from my Discord and people from the community that I know. That would be ideal. So yeah, if you want to be my friend, just shoot me a friend request. My ID's in all my videos. It's right there. But what you need to do though is make a comment and like tell me who you are, so I know that you're specifically like you watch my videos and you want to be on my friends list. Then I will for sure make room for you. So if you want that, feel free to do that. All right, so look at us, 751. Still have 4 turns left. 771. By the way, it's not just we're getting all these little 6% ups, but we're also getting the 20% at the end of the enemy's turns, right? So this thing's popping off like crazy. So when, like I said this before, but when you first see Maria's percentages, you're like, oh, 6% per heal, that's not very much. You see how it adds up, why they have to go with those low numbers. So if they did anything high, you would just blow it through the roof, right? So yeah, here we are, 800%, still on turn 4. Because the enemies, like, they hit these thresholds, and look, they're about to hit 29%. They're going to jump cut turns again at 29. Look, cut and turn order, sure. The thing is they actually cut too quick. Because now they're just cutting into the same spot they were. So it would have been nice if we had, like, they done it a little bit later, like right when we were going to have a turn. But here's Celis finally waiting to get her second turn to get rid of Confused. Now, Minwoo got Confused as well. Once again, doesn't stop Trap Holy, which is really, really nice, right? The Confused just doesn't really matter for us. You know, with the Confused, they are trying to sell Theodore a little bit, because he does have that that Isuna skill or whatever, like that the party cleanse. But yeah, we're just fine without it, because Maria's traps, all these traps work really well. Here we are, 899. We're still going. We're at 905 with 3 turns left, like insane numbers. And now keep in mind, you can't do this. This is a very particular team comp. Now, there are some subs you could do here. Like, I think Gao is somebody you could sub in. And I think Leon does healing too, like through the Dark Absorption, I think. But he might work also. But, like, in terms of off-turn, I would say it's pretty much this team comp, or, like, you may be tossing Gao for one of them. Oh, Furion. Furion could work too for off-turn healing, right? So if you have Furion or Gao and you don't have this exact 3, you could swap out Celis or Minwoo with, like, one of those two, and I think you could still have very similar results here, right? Now, obviously my team's uber busted, because this is a full, like, green-blue BTFR team. You know, Maria's not BT, but, like, Celis and Minwoo are, like, maxed out. So, and look at the enemies are just melting away. Here we are at full 9s. So you can see we're going above, like, we would be going above. There's a 20% that didn't even add on, because we're already at cap. And then these traps just doing 1.3 million twice. We just did 3 mil AoE off of a couple of traps. We popped the summon, and it's good night. That was a 10 mil AoE summon, and that wasn't even the strongest summon. Had we done Brothers there, it would have been like 15 to 20 mil AoE. So there you go, and you see the team pretty much ran itself. You get it set up, you get these aggressive enemies, and we're putting up the 999 force time and just absolutely blowing up this fight. So anyways, let me know what you think of this team comp. Let me know if you want to be my friend. Let me know who you want my friend unit to be. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.